The show, the guests, and the charts, the fun and laughter. The chat show with a difference. She'll talk with you.
You know, the future, because the oil sector is not only about Nigeria, or from your experience, where do you think the oil sector globally should be directed towards?
Yeah, it's a very tough question, and people are debating this all the time. It's not so much about the oil sector per se, it's more about the energy sector. Mm-hmm. We need energy, we use energy, and we need to find it from somewhere, and the world is a growing population and everybody is advancing, and so the requirement for energy is increasing all the time. Up to now, we've relied really on finite resources, which is what oil and gas are. These are deposited resources from many, many years ago, which cannot be replicated in our lifetime. They take millions of years to create. So inevitably, one day we will be faced with either cutting down our energy requirements or finding alternative energy sources. So, and on top of that, we're also faced with the climate change issue, which is related to fossil fuels, which oil and gas and coal are. With respect, first of all, to climate change, gas is a much cleaner fuel than oil, or particularly coal. And so in the short term, you will see much more focus on gas as a particular energy source. And Nigeria is very fortunate. We have huge gas resources here. But gas is a difficult one to manage. It's not something you can put in a ship and sail away with very easily. You need very specialised ships, refrigerated ships to do so. It's a very high cost industry. And what you would like to do with your gas is be using it more in a domestic market for power generation. So then you have to have a whole gas infrastructure and pipelines and all the rest of it, which requires a lot of investment and requires a lot of discipline in the country, because we can't have people running around vandalising gas pipelines. Vandalising oil pipelines is one thing, but gas pipelines are another.
You know something, it just crossed my mind. How do you feel, and what's your thoughts, and contribution about the ozone layer? There's been a lot of talk about, the oil destroying the ozone layer. And as a professional in the field, what's your opinion about that?
Well, it's a concern. Scientists, so those in that field are pointing out very clearly that they truly believe there's a problem developing. Some deny it, some agree it. But anyway, I think we have to listen to the experts, and they do say there's a problem developing. So something has to happen, and these CO2 and CO emissions need to be moderated, if not eliminated. So that's why I say the use of gas is a cleaner fuel and produces less of these what we call greenhouse gases. Renewables, people are going into wind power and such like, and solar power. I'm not so convinced that these can really give us the necessary volume of energy that we require. I personally have always been a great believer in nuclear energy. I did spend a little bit of time working in the nuclear industry as a student, and so although it's got a bad name and people are a bit terrified of it, I think that it's an area that with time and technological advancements and better understanding, I'm sure we could do a better job with that. But it brings its own problem. Nuclear waste then has to be dealt with as well, and that needs to be resolved too. So nothing comes for nothing.
For nothing.
The chat show with a difference.